Hey everybody, it's Roberto. You've often heard me talk about the importance of mentorship and how that can make a real difference in your life. Recently, I got to actually sit down with somebody who's been a mentor of mine from afar for a very long time and has played a pivotal role in my success. You've often heard me talk about passive income and diversifying and building multiple streams of income, and someone who really helped me get started with that was online entrepreneur Pat Flynn. Some of you might be familiar with Pat from the smartpassiveincome.com podcast. Recently, we had a sit down. We talked about how to get started making passive income online. We also talked about the importance and difference between passive income and active income. And one of the favorite things that I asked him is the question I get from all of you guys, because I knew what his answer would be. How do you make money online fast? All of you asked this. Here's what Pat had to say. Check out the interview.
Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com, helping you create something awesome today with my friend Pat Flynn.
What's up?
The Pat Flynn, smartpassiveincome.com.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. So we're at Vid Summit right now, and we've been talking about a lot of things. It's just so many things. But something that I always try to help my audience understand is how they can make money online, ways they can diversify their income and revenue, especially as creators. And I just wanted to ask you, and I wanted them to hear it from you, like, what are your thoughts about like the quick ways to jump into this world of making money online, and maybe even give them a little bit context of how you got started on that, just using skills you already had.
Right. So there's thousands of ways to generate an income online, right? Some are better than others. Now, if you ask me the question, well, what's the quickest way to make money online? I really don't like that question.
I don't either. I thought you'd say that.
You know, because it's all about being quick, and it's not about serving first. And as you know, if you followed Roberto, it's all about helping serve others first. And the byproduct of doing that is then the income. So then the question becomes, using the skills and resources that you have available, what would be the quickest way to help somebody using those skills that you have
Or the most
available?
practical way.
Or the most practical. If you're 10 years old and you're at home and you have access to a lawnmower, well, it would be to get that lawnmower and ask your neighbors who have grass if they want their grass cut, right?
Exactly.
So that's the analogy. Like, how can you be that 10-year-old? What's your lawnmower?
I love it.
So this isn't passive, though. That's the thing.
That's active.
Starting with passive income cannot work. It takes a lot of active income, or active work, and even active income first before you can then convert it over to passive income. So to phrase it in one word, it would be freelance.
Yes.
That would be the number one best way to do it for a number of reasons. One, you can get paid much quicker because you have a skill that you can offer. People want those skills. They don't have those skills, so they'll be willing to pay you for that. Secondly, if you get to freelance in the space that you're interested in, where you eventually want to get to the point where you have your own business, not freelancing with products, courses, whatever, well, you're entering that world. You are now understanding who are the players are in that world. You're serving that world with your skills and learning more about the space, and then you'll be able to find a position that you can plant yourself in later that would better serve
a place to plant your flag. You find an opportunity, and it's an opportunity for you to deliver value.
Absolutely. Now, how I got my start was actually I was going to be an architect. I wanted to be an architect my whole life. I was born, I started playing with Legos. I just kind of knew Lincoln Logs. That was my thing. And
I loved Lincoln Logs.
Dude,
and Constructs.
Yes. Oh, Constructs.
And Zacks.
Connects.
Zacks, remember?
Even Duplos.
Yes.
I know they're bigger and
No, I love those, man. I still have Legos, and I have Lego Technic.
Dude, and the sets they're coming out with now are just ridiculous.
Insane.
Like, there's the Millennium Falcon that just came out, and it's like a bazillion pieces. If you have kids, though, you got to wear socks or else you're going to step on them, and I have 2 kids of my own. But anyway,
yeah.
I wanted to be an architect, and I was on my way. I was climbing the corporate ladder. I was the youngest person in the firm that I went to and got a job at to become a job captain, which you typically need 6 or 7 years of experience before you're job captain. I only had 2. So I was excelling. I was doing way more than I was asked of. That's how I got a great job and got straight A's, doing the whole thing, right? Following the path that I was supposed to be on. And then one day, it was actually June 17, 2008, my boss calls me into his office. He sits me down and he goes, "Hey, Pat, I don't know how to tell you this. I mean, you're one of the youngest, brightest guys we have ever worked with, but unfortunately, we have to let you go." And that was just I don't know if you've ever gotten punched in the stomach or
more than
lost
once.
your, you're on rollerblades and you fall on your back, you just lose your air. I couldn't breathe at that point. And part of what kind of amplified the worry that I had was I had just proposed to my girlfriend And it was supposed to be a secure job, but of course in 2008 the economy was just crashing. Nobody was building buildings, so nobody needed anybody to design them. And so the first thing that I did was I went back to my desk, angry and upset, and I called every single architect.
You went through the stages of grief in that very moment.
I did. It was like in 10 seconds I went through all those emotions, and then being who I am, I'm like, okay, how can I fix this? I need to fix this now. So I went and I called every single architecture firm we had ever made contact with, all my buddies from college, like everybody. I was like begging and pleading for a job.
The bargaining phase.
I was like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, I'll do like executive board. Like, I don't care. I just want to be in this world. That's all I knew.
Right.
Now,
it was the dream.
It was the dream, and it was being taken away from me. And I had worked so hard, I didn't understand, and I couldn't believe that even though I had done everything right,
checked all the boxes, played by all the rules,
it still didn't work. And so I went through this like mild state of depression, and I'm so thankful for my wife April, because the words that she said to me when she saw me crying when she got home was, "We're going to be okay." And that to me was just like, thank God I have this woman in my life who can support me through whatever ends up happening. Now, there is a small blessing. Because I was a job captain, I had clients, and they couldn't just let me go that day. So I had a termination date about 2.5 months away. And then April and I both moved back to San Diego with our parents to save money. And I would
encourage more people to do. I know that it seems like horrible on the surface, but it was a real blessing for you and for what will become your wife. Yeah.
Plus, we had this wedding to pay for, and I'm half Filipina, and my wife's full Filipina. And when you're Filipino having a wedding, you have to invite everybody, including those that you don't know but somehow are connected to you, like your babysitter when you were 3.
Being like Panamanian, being Latino, like weddings become a big deal.
So you get this.
Yes.
So we're saving money. Now, I was taking the train every day to Irvine, California, 2-hour train ride. It was cheaper than driving, because that was the last money I was going to have.
It was like my commute from Brooklyn to Manhattan.
And that was it. And so I exhausted my music playlist. I was listening to like Linkin Park, that's my angry music, Dashboard Confessional, like all this sad stuff. And then I discovered podcasts to fill my time. And my life changed at that point. This is why podcasting is so meaningful to me, why I teach it now. I've been podcasting since 2010.
Because it literally changed your life. It was the turning point.
It was absolutely the turning point, because I discovered a show where I listened to an interview of a guy teaching and telling how he had made 6 figures a year by teaching people how to pass the project management exam or the PM exam. And that was my light bulb moment, because I had taken so many difficult exams to get to where I was at in architecture. I'm like, maybe I can do what this guy's doing, but in architecture. So I built a website. It was called inthelead.com, LEED. That's short for the exam that I was teaching, which was
the LEEDS exam.
Yep, leadership in energy and environmental design. Really, really niche. Like most people have never heard of.
Yeah, environmental sustainability in architecture, and that's a very specific thing, narrow niche.
Exactly. So I built this website. I shared everything I knew that I had done to pass this exam. All my notes I had to bring back out and share it. So all my notes I had to bring back as I was sharing it with everybody. I was sharing new things. I was talking about my own experience. I was getting very involved in forums, actually, answering as many questions as I could. This is why I tell people, like, if you want to get well known in the industry, go and answer every question there is out there about it.
Yes.
To establish that expertise. And so I did that. And then people started asking me, hey, Pat, like, can I hire you as a coach? Like, I need help with this exam. And so I ended up writing a book, a study guide. It was $19.95. Most of it was the same stuff that was on my website. And I sold it in October of 2008. A few months later, the same month I was terminated.
Wow.
And I had generated $7,908.55.
In a month.
In a month, from an ebook that was sold and sent via email to people after they purchased it.
Which is like double what you would have made just working salary.
It was 2.5 times what I was making as a job captain. And it just completely changed my life for a few reasons. One, because I was like, wow, I made money and I'm able to survive. Although a lot of times, like even that first sale, I remember that first sale came in and I was just so ecstatic. But then immediately I started to think, what if this person asks for a refund? What if it's bad? What if I go to jail because of this? And like all these little things that you just start thinking.
The anxiety creeps in
when you're doing something new. But that month was life-changing also, because not only was I getting paid for this stuff, but people were sending me these incredible thank you notes.
And their success stories.
Like their success stories, like they were able to get promotions and they're now able to go on vacation with their families, or they gotten raises, and they were calling me by name. Roberto, that was the biggest thing for me, because I had done so much to help in architecture. I have my fingerprint on several buildings in this world but nobody will ever know. Like, do you know who built your home?
No.
Do you know who built your home? Probably not. The home that you live in and sleep in and break bread with people you love, we don't even know who designed it.
That actually blows my mind now that you think about that.
Right?
I've never even once considered that.
Nobody knows that unless it was like your grandpa who built it with his own hands or something.
Right.
But these people were like, Pat, thank you, Pat this, Pat. Oh God, you got to check out Pat's stuff. And then my site was being shared on chapter websites from the same organization that actually writes the exam questions, and it just started to explode.
Right.
And then in a year, that website made $203,000, and so that was taking.
So in 1 year, you went from being like terminated. Yep. To doing over 6 figures, almost $250,000 in a year in gross revenue.
Yes.
Using the knowledge you already had at a job from a job you just lost.
Exactly.
See, that's what actually like becoming an entrepreneur, growing income online, both active and or passive, really looks like. That's the actual journey of one entrepreneur, and you would go on to change other people's lives.
I mean, that's the thing. When amazing things happen to you, you should hopefully pay it forward to others. And I'm so thankful that I started to learn about how to blog and how to podcast and all that stuff. So that's why I built smartpassiveincome.com.
But it started with content that was written content. So you started with a blog that was basically your study guide, your journaling of your notes of knowledge you already acquired in your corporate career, which means you guys at home, you could be doing this for the job that you currently have. You could look at it and look at the certifications, look at what you have, or apply for certifications so that in the long run, one, that helps you at the job you have, but prepares you for a future that you might not be anticipating.
There are people who want that information, who want it from somebody who is just further ahead than them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I wasn't an expert in that. Like, I didn't get a perfect score on that exam. I was actually pretty close to failing. I just barely passed it. But because I was the one putting the effort in to help people by being the one to talk about it, by being the one to research it, to answer those people's questions, I became seen as the expert. An expert's not necessarily somebody who has a PhD and 10 master's degrees. It's somebody who just happens to be a little bit further ahead than you.
Exactly.
And that is actually better than somebody who has 10 master's degrees and PhDs.
That person's inaccessible. That person's unrelatable. There's too much of a gap between you and them.
Exactly.
Just being a little bit ahead of somebody. Just being like, not even senior to them. Just being the person who's taken one more step is enough.
Exactly. So from the blog on the lead exam website, so many people were asking me, how did you do that? Like, show me how you were able to survive. So I built smartpassiveincome.com to talk about that. And the passive income part comes from, I got a lot of inspiration from Tim Ferriss when I started his book, The 4-Hour Work Week. Just came out when all that was happening. So I was inspired to figure out, okay, how can I use tools and software to automate this process so people could come to that website, buy the ebook, it would get delivered to them automatically, and then I would get paid via PayPal.
Yep.
And so I would literally wake up and have more money in my PayPal account. It was just bonkers. And that allowed me to be with my family, to focus on this new venture, which became Smart Passive Income. And the whole goal of Smart Passive Income was to just share anything and everything I learned. I had built new businesses publicly, showing people the mistakes I was making and the wins that I had. And then over time, that became a powerhouse brand in the entrepreneurship space because, and this is sad, it is sad that I became successful because I was the honest one.
That is real. So that's real to me. That's real to me. Authenticity is not only a filter, it is a funnel. And people don't realize that because, again, in the world of that we're on with entrepreneurship, and even when you say the phrase passive income, there are massive skeptics out there.
Absolutely.
You being the person that is transparent and makes this real to people, there's a distinct value in that. And for you watching at home, there might be something that you're doing that might feel saturated, but you have to ask yourself, out of all that saturation, who do people trust and why? And is there room for one more trustworthy person in the space? The answer is usually yes.
Oh, I mean, we live in a world of abundance, and there are so many people who are providing the same messages, but they're all unique messengers. You are a unique messenger, and people will respond to you in the way that you do it, with your experiences behind it and your talents with it, because it's you. And when you put yourself out there and don't try to, this was another thing I learned quite quickly, because when I started my blogs, I tried to be like other bloggers. I tried to talk about the same things. I tried to make my website look like other people's. And then when I started to develop my own voice and style, that's when people really started to gravitate toward me. So put your vibe out there. As my buddy Chris Ducker says, your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yes.
And when you build that tribe, just like you guys are a part of Roberto's tribe, I mean, it becomes a massive movement.
Exactly. And so that's like, that's the thing I want you guys to take away, is that even helping one person at a time, you have no idea what the ultimate impact is. And this can grow into something phenomenal. And to get started, it's not like you had a big audience.
No, not at all. But I made content that was useful, and I shared it in a way that brought out my personality, because online people connect with other people. And when you combine the people part with the being helpful part, then you're going to win.
So if you had any last tips or advice for those who want to become online entrepreneurs, what would you say to them, like right now, if they're still on the fence about this?
The only way that you're going to know if this is going to work or not is to just try. And you can read all the books you want, you can listen to all the podcasts you want, take that information, but actually put it into action. And when you do that, you'll learn a few things. You're going to learn what doesn't work. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. But that is a part of the process of becoming an entrepreneur. Failing fast, experimenting. This is what it's all about, because the more you learn from your failures, the more likely it is you're getting closer and closer to that success.
Excellent. I couldn't have put it better myself, Pat.
Thank you.
More than anything, guys, we want you to be successful. You guys know that I'm a creative entrepreneur, and that whether you want to be successful as a freelancer, whether you want to actually find a job in the creative world where you feel like you have a place to call home, or if you want to be an entrepreneur and build that place for other people, that's what I want for you. That's what Pat wants for you. We've lived it. We've experienced it. We know that a lot of you are seeking stability and you're seeking success, and there's more than one way to get it. So, more than anything, I want to encourage you guys to make sure you're checking out smartpassiveincome.com. Definitely listen to the podcast. Definitely subscribe to this man's YouTube channel, because he's bringing it back. He's bringing
getting a lot of good help, though,
Yeah.
on how to do it right. So Smart Passive Income is the YouTube channel.
Yeah, so everything's going to be linked down below for you guys.
So that was my interview with Pat Flynn. Again, one of my favorite online entrepreneurs, somebody who's become a friend, somebody who's been a mentor to me from afar, and somebody who I really feel a sense of kinship with, somebody who understands the things and believes in the same things that I do. And I think that that's really important to have in terms of who you choose as your mentors, who you choose as your friends, or who you even choose as the people that you decide to build network relationships with in business. So I really appreciate Pat taking the time to give value to this community. There's so much you can learn from him. Go to smartpassiveincome.com. There's a wealth of information there. It's one of my favorite podcasts. It's probably one of my top 10. I should probably make a video about my top 10 podcasts I listen to. Question of the day. What podcast are you guys listening to right now? Let me know in the comment section. Also, be sure to check out Pat, follow him in social media. All of that will be linked down below. Tell him I sent you. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome stuff on both my channel and over on Pat's channel, Smart Passive Income TV. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching, and don't forget, go out there and create something awesome today. Take care.